It has been 36 years since Kenner last put new figures from their legendary toy line Superpowers on toy shelves. And from out of nowhere, McFarlane Toys has brought back the toy line with new figures and vehicles for a super reasonable price. And the question a lot of us toy collectors have is, can this reboot even come close to matching the near mythical status of the original toy line? Well, we'll unbox and share my thoughts to try to answer that on this episode of Geek Dad Life. Hello everybody and welcome to Geek Dad Life. It's your host, Jay Glatfelter here. In 1984, the stars aligned when Kenner, looking for a hit toy line to follow up their massively successful Star Wars run, united with DC Comics looking to return to toy shelves for the first time since Mego's legendary superheroes toys. Superpowers was a showcase of Kenner swinging for the fences at the height of their powers. A line of 5-inch scale figures that had fantastic paint applications, unique sculpts, with pinless joints that included hidden action features that gave them their Superpowers title. The first wave of toys featured just about all of the top-tier DC heroes and villains. The wave also included iconic vehicles like the Batmobile, Supermobile, and the Lexor 7. And they released one of my favorite playsets of all time, the Hall of Justice. Featuring an unfolding carry case design that opened up to a treasure trove of features, like a trapdoor / jail, elevator to the aircraft landing pad, a Murphy bed computer terminal, hero rejuvenation chambers / transportation booths / aquatic pools that doubled as figure carrying spaces. Doorways to different rooms. It even featured an awesome DC team outline that could be used for awesome crayon art. In 1985, Wave 2 introduced more iconic DC characters and brought in comic legend Jack Kirby to do a refresh of his New Gods characters. We also got fun new vehicles like the Darkseid Destroyer and my personal favorite, because it's so funky, the Delta Probe 1. Production went underway for a Wave 3 that would feature completely new characters just for the toy line, as well as recently acquired characters and more. But before 85 even finished out, Kenner pulled the plug on the toy line, as the high expense of the original tooling plus the action features, along with the waning sales of the new characters, brought an early end to a promising toy line. Those Wave 3 toys already in production did hit retailers in 86, but they are the rarest and most expensive to find today, with Cyborg and his glorious vac metal construction being the last figure they started producing before the shutdown, and thus is the most rare and expensive. It's hard to believe there was a time when comic book characters were not at the constant forefront of kid culture, but it would still be a couple years till the Batmania of 1989. Both Toy Biz and Kenner continue the legacy of Superpowers, with Toy Biz creating lesser models of those DC heroes, and Kenner reusing parts for their Batman lines in the 90s. Fast forward 36 years later, and Superpowers has been brought back to life by McFarlane Toys with an opening wave of 4 action figures and 2 vehicles, all using the same style, packaging, look, and scale of the original toy line. And as someone who has been a huge Superpowers fan since the 80s, I can't explain how awesome it is to see those bright primary colors in the toy aisle again, even if McFarlane's Reboot isn't a one-for-one recreation. Starting with the packaging for the figures, the card backs are the same size as the vintage figures, mini cards excluded, but the bubbles on the new ones are huge and cover up that awesome Superpowers logo. I'm sure there is reasoning behind why they did this, but hopefully it's something that they can improve for future waves. I love that the figures feature new comic book art for the characters just like the old cards. And in Soup's case, it's the same wonderful artwork from Jose Luis Garcia Lopez's DC style guides. Now, this may be a Kenner rights issue, but the colors are slightly different from the original blue, yellow, and red. It doesn't ruin the card art, but it does make it feel slightly less special than if they nailed those OG primary colors. The back features cross-sell similar to the originals, with Green Lantern being the only card that features him in the cross-sell. You also get a bio card. Really, all of the fun things that we saw on the original cards are captured here. Similar variances are carried over to the vehicle packaging as well. The illustrated art is a tad simpler than the art that we got for the original vehicles. Still, I love the overall approach, and any of my minor gripes could be easily fixed in hopeful future releases. Removing the figures and vehicles reveals similar issues with the toys being close, but not perfect. For starters, the key feature on the original line were the unique actions that each figure had, and they're absent here. While I don't miss them all that much, especially for the price, it does mean we lose those awesome pinless joints that featured in the original line. The sculpting varies from figure to figure, with Jon Stewart and Darkseid being the best. The Batman is probably the worst of the bunch, with his proportions, especially the chest, just looking off. The paint applications are really sharp, again for the price point. They don't match the near perfection of the original line, but for a modern sub $10 figure, they're pretty good. I especially like all the paint details on the new 52 version of Darkseid. Articulation matches the original toy line with 7 points, upping that classic Kenner 5 POA approach by adding articulation at the knees. One aspect that really falls short on these first figures are the capes that go with Superman and Batman. The art of the cloth goods clip capes that Kenner pioneered with the superpowers and used well into the 90s with various Batman lines is not featured here. And given how off these capes are, I wonder if those capes are a lost art for toy companies. They're oversized with haphazard stitching on the clips, and to ensure they stay put in package, they use a hang tag that punctures the cape, harming an already underwhelming appearance. I still want to applaud that they stuck with the cloth goods cape with the clips, because using any other material would be worse in my opinion. I just hope that future releases improve on the design. Luckily, there are already third-party toy makers filling that void in the meantime. The thing I absolutely love with this figure selection is the chance for getting new characters we never got in the original line. The lone true representation of that in these first figures is Jon Stewart. For a lot of people that love the Bruce Timm Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Jon Stewart is the definitive Green Lantern, and it's so awesome to get a superpower style version to go alongside the already existing Hal Jordan. We know McFarlane loves to make as many Batman figures as possible, but I hope they have more releases like this Jon Stewart figure in waves to come. The vehicles, while simple by the standards of the 1980s, are a marvel to see in toy aisles in the 2020s. Starting with the Batwing. The original line never featured the Batwing, opting for the rare Batcopter as his aerial option. Adding one today fills a hole in the original line that alone would have made it great. But the color used in the plastics matches well with the Batmobile. The folding wings and the Bat Clipper action feature are so much fun, and it comfortably fits the figures. The Supermobile is a second pass at the off-tease vehicle for the most powerful comic book character ever. I really dug the design of the original one from the 80s, but I love that they went with the earlier design of the Supermobile, which featured in sketches for Kenner's original pitch to get the DC license. The vehicle protects Supes from kryptonite, adding a double fist punching action that is as fun as it is silly. It also features 2 jail cells off the back end of the ship. It's supposed to be able to fit bad guys into there, but it doesn't fit Darkseid. It doesn't fit any of the other superheroes that we've got in this wave. So I don't know if it'll ever function that way, but it's a fun addition. I would have loved playing with these toys as a kid, and my kids love playing with them as well. Oh, and let's talk about the price. The Supermobile comes in just under $30, and the Batwing comes in under $20. The overall pricing structure on these toys is incredible. I bought all of these toys for a little over $100. That's 2 vehicles and 4 action figures. That's unheard of for most toy lines these days, and McFarlane Toys should be commended for accomplishing that. These are currently Walmart exclusives, which is a bummer, but hopefully this line does well enough to go beyond just being a Walmart exclusive. But no matter how you shake it, the value of these toys is some of the best we've seen in a long time. Is this a perfect reboot of one of my and many others' favorite toy lines? No. But does it capture the spirit of the original line while making them super accessible to collectors and kids alike? Yes. These figures showed up at Walmart's weeks before we got an official announcement, making this release feel like a bit of an afterthought. But of all the releases that McFarlane has done so far with a DC license, this is their best. A toy line that captures the nostalgia of the original while being fun and at a great price simply makes this a great toy line. And I hope this line goes from being an afterthought to front and center for McFarlane toys. I'd like to thank people that make this show possible, my patrons. You can find a full list of them right here. If you'd like to help this channel grow, become a patron today at patreon.com/geekdadlife. Definitely check out some of the other videos on this channel, like this one that YouTube wants you to check out, and one of my more recent videos. And until next time, hasta luego, and goodbye.